All right, let's talk about motivation. What is it that really gets us fired up to do things? Today, we're going to dig into the actual science of what gets us moving, and this is the important part, what keeps us going for the long haul.
You know that feeling, right? You can spend an entire afternoon completely lost in a video game or a good book, but then trying to build a simple habit like going to the gym feels like pushing a boulder uphill. It's that huge gap between the things we have to do and the things we truly want to do.
Well, it turns out there's a really powerful idea from psychology that explains this perfectly. It's called self-determination theory, or SDT for short. And honestly, it's a total game changer for understanding why some things feel like a chore and others feel like your life's passion. And get this, according to SDT, our entire system for having high-quality, lasting motivation, it's all built on satisfying just three basic psychological needs. That's it, just three. So here they are: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Autonomy is that need to feel like you're in the driver's seat of your own life, making your own choices. Competence, that's the feeling you get when you're actually good at something and you can see yourself getting better. And finally, relatedness is our fundamental need to connect with other people, to feel like we belong. When you get all three of these, you're not just motivated, you're thriving. Okay, so we've got these three core needs. That's great. But how does that actually connect to the feeling of being super motivated for one thing and, completely unmotivated for another? Well, the big idea here is that motivation isn't some simple on or off switch. It's actually a whole spectrum. It ranges from having zero motivation at all to the most powerful, authentic drive you can possibly imagine. At either end of this spectrum, you've got two main types of motivation. On one side, there's controlled motivation. This is when you're pushed by outside forces, like rewards, fear of punishment, or even guilt. It's that classic "I have to do this" feeling. But on the other side, you've got autonomous motivation. This comes from the inside. It's driven by what you genuinely find interesting and valuable. That's the "I want to do this" feeling. Okay, let's break this whole spectrum down. It starts at the very bottom with amotivation, which is basically zero drive. From there, we creep into that controlled zone with external regulation, doing stuff for rewards, and introjected regulation, which is all about avoiding guilt. Then we cross this really important line into autonomous motivation with identified and integrated regulation, and it all leads to the holy grail, pure intrinsic motivation. Let's walk through this with some examples. So starting at the bottom, we have amotivation. Let's meet Harper. For Harper, there's absolutely no link between exercising and getting anything good out of it. There's just nothing, no desire, no intent to even start. Now, the very first step up from that is external regulation. This is Lee. Lee genuinely dislikes exercise but walks anyway because their doctor told them to. The motivation here is 100% external. It's completely controlled by an outside pressure. Next up is introjected regulation, and this one's a little tricky. Meet Yuri. He plays tennis, not because he loves it, but because he'd feel super guilty if he quit and let his parents down. The pressure is still coming from the outside, but he's sort of swallowed it, and now it feels like an internal voice telling him he should do it. And here's the big turning point. We're now crossing over into autonomous territory. This is Noor. She goes to aerobics, not necessarily because the class itself is a blast, but because she has consciously decided that the goal, looking good, is important to her. She values the outcome, so she chooses the behavior. See the shift? Moving even deeper into autonomous motivation, we have integrated regulation. This is Tail. For Tail, running isn't just a thing he does to reach a goal. It's become a core part of who he is. He identifies as a runner. The activity and his personal values are completely in sync. It's deeply personal. And finally, we've reached the absolute peak of the spectrum, intrinsic motivation. This is Raha. She plays sports for one reason and one reason only, because it is awesome. It's just pure fun. The activity itself is the reward. This is where those needs for autonomy and competence are just firing on all cylinders. So here's where it all clicks together. The whole point, the ultimate goal, is to shift our motivation from that controlled have-to side of the spectrum over to the autonomous want-to side. And how do we do that? We do it by feeding those three basic needs we talked about: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Think about it in the real world, like with a sports coach. A controlling coach barks orders, criticizes every mistake, and uses pressure. That kind of environment starves our basic needs. But an autonomy supportive coach, they offer choices, explain why you're doing a drill, and praise your effort. That style feeds our needs and naturally pulls us toward that high-quality autonomous motivation. So what can you do with this? How do you build your own motivational toolkit? Well, you can consciously try to meet these needs. For autonomy, actively look for choices you can make and connect what you're doing to your own values. For competence, shift your focus from just winning to actually improving and mastering the skill. And for relatedness, find your team, your community. The big idea is to always try to find your why and shift that internal monologue from I should to I want to. So I'll leave you with a question to think about. As you look at the different parts of your own life, your job, your health, your hobbies, which one of these three basic needs, autonomy, competence, or relatedness, could use a little more attention right now? Figuring that out might be the most important first step you can take.